This is VSiN By The Books on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Happy Friday to all of you tuning in, listening wherever you may be. Appreciate you hanging out with us all week. It is great to have my man Keith Irizarry back, Jensen Lewis, your humble host, Dave Ross. We believe, Keith, at least video evidence showed us yesterday that he was making his way back to Vegas from Virginia Beach. However, he connected in the one place that we think if he had his choice, he would stay. So he connected in Dallas-Fort Worth yesterday. And as a massive Cowboy fan, yet to find out if Super Dave Ross made it back. But, buddy, great to be back with you. Last couple of days have been a lot of fun. I know you and I have been taking in these games left, right, and center. And yesterday, mile-high salute to you, my friend. Great job on the Anthony Edwards pick. The first quarter, a little bit of a sweat at the end. But yesterday, a lot of fun, giving out a lot of great winners for our people.
Yeah, I know you gave me a salute. I'll give the salute right back to you and to everyone. I mean, all of our guests yesterday were on one. Like, it was one of those shows where if you tailed us for the completion of the 3 hours, you might be eating and drinking well this weekend because of it. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to put a hex on anything because, who knows how today will go. But yesterday, we helped you out.
Amen. And let's hope that our great guest list coming up today will do very much the same thing that happened yesterday. Of course, every Thursday or Friday, we get a chance to catch up with the great Thomas Gable, race and sports director there at the Borgata in Atlantic City. The Billy Body experience, we get another 2-for-1. Cody Decker yesterday, Billy Body joining us again. The soccer betting analyst at SGP Soccer on Twitter. Lou Finicaro, who usually stops by on Fridays, gives us a preview of UFC 315, a big-time card coming up tomorrow. And, of course, our great friend Zach Cohen, senior writer and editor here at VSiN.com. Great angles so far from not only the first round of the NBA postseason, but also he was on those Minnesota Timberwolves early. And I think he'll have a little bit more to give to us as we get into more NBA playoffs over the weekend. But it is time to get everyone caught up from the news yesterday and preview today. So let's get to it, our highlights and headlines.
Help your bottom line with today's highlights and headlines.
All right, my friend, you said it was the Anthony Edwards urgency of the first quarter to get the T-Wolves back out in front. A little scary situation in the second quarter as he kind of crumpled in a heap, clutching his left ankle. But the theme and the headline can't keep him down. Well done by our producer, Brandon Valesky. The Ant-Man comes back in force and helps Minnesota get to a comfortable 117-93 win to even up this second round series. They will head to San Francisco over the weekend to play game 3. But that injury in the second, I know, Keith, every Timberwolf fan kind of holding their collective breath, if you will. He did return in the third quarter, finished with 20 points. And as we mentioned, tomorrow night, game 3, moving day in this series. That one all knotted up at one game apiece.
Dominant first quarter in general, Jensen, by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Julius Randle looked great. McDaniels was hitting shots. Anthony Edwards ended up getting to the over 6.5 first quarter points that we had predicted and were hoping for. So it was interesting to hear Anthony Edwards post-game talk about, when he hurt his left ankle, his left leg. And he's like, I went back there, and he named the trainer, and I can't remember the name of the trainer that he said. But he's like, he's magic, man. I don't know what he does, but he's magic, and I'm fine. And then, listening to Julius Randle talk about, all the different superheroes you can call, and he landed on, Wolverine and all this. With all that being said, there was a stretch in the third quarter, the end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter, where the Warriors made a little bit of a run. And it felt a little bit reminiscent of what happened with the Celtics and the Knicks. It was a big lead. It was dwindling away. But guess what? Minnesota did not just continue to jack up three-pointers. They played a solid game. When there were layups to be had, they took them. When there were dunks to be had, they took them. It wasn't just, hey, jack up a three, jack up a three. So it's crazy to see how a coach and a team can, not just throw up shots from 97 feet away all the time? Yeah. So good win by the Timberwolves, and I think they're in a really good spot because, again, we come back to this, Jensen. I don't know when Steph's going to be back for the Warriors.
Yeah, and that will be the prevailing sentiment as we move forward. We're pretty sure that not only Game 3, but most likely Game 4, Steph Curry unavailable. And again, if you want to jump in right now with that series, all knotted at 1. Timberwolves now up to a minus 320 series favorite. The Warriors in the comeback plus 250. And already those lines posted for tomorrow. That will be at 8:35 Eastern tip time. T-Wolves a 5-point road favorite, total of 201. You see the series exacta prices there, and I think you made mention of it yesterday that if the Timberwolves do what they're capable of doing, then maybe this one, depending on if Steph can come back, you maybe look at those Timberwolves exacta prices. 4-1 is plus 205, 4-2 plus 350, and really, I think our juxtaposition now comes between games 4, game 5, in which there is a bit more of a layoff because of the WNBA franchise that gets underway there in the Bay Area. So before we jump out to the series that continue tonight, Keith, do you feel it's also that sense of urgency point there for the T-Wolves? Hey, we do not want to allow Golden State to prolong this series and allow Steph Curry that extra rest to be able to come back.
Listen, I think if you're Minnesota, right, and you're Coach Finch and you're talking to your players, you just want to end the series anyway, right? Like, even if Steph was playing, you're like, all right, it's 1-1. Let's just win this let's win tomorrow, win the next, just do all that. But I think you're right. Like, the better you can be when Steph isn't there. Let's say Steph is back for game 5 and the Timberwolves are up 3-1. If you're Minnesota, you're feeling pretty good because you'd imagine that Steph Curry now would be, that'd be almost a week and a half of him not playing. So he could potentially be a little bit rusty, right? The team has to figure out how to matriculate through everything and get him back, into the swing of things as well. Minnesota's in a good spot here. I wouldn't say a great spot, but they're in a really good spot. And it's an opportunity for Minnesota to just knock this out as quickly as you can and get ready for a Western Conference final in which you fell short last year.
Will be remarkable to see what that dynamic looks like for Steve Kerr and who is going to try and be able to take up the mantle. No one scoring more than 17 points for the Golden State Warriors, and you could tell even Charles Barkley saying, how do you run an offense without a point guard? They really don't have any. And how do you not have a backup for Steph Curry? So no question that some adjustments will have to be made for the Warriors as they go back home for Game 3 tomorrow night. The night on ice was scintillating yet again. We had 2 excellent games, and the first one in our nation's capital. The Capitals alive and well. They even up this series 3-1 against Carolina. Remember, Carolina getting Game 1 in overtime. A boatload of shots yet again for the Hurricanes that do not get to the net. But let's give credit where credit is due here, Keith. The Capitals, this has actually been a bit more defensive than I had anticipated. And for them to do what they've done, Tom Wilson getting the goal that pretty much put this one away in the third period to win 3-1. They even the series. But more importantly, I think it's the way that they have played. For all intents and purposes, Keith, they had every opportunity to win Game 1. This series could be very much 2-0 Caps headed back to Carolina.
And it's the kind of series I actually thought we were going to get because both netminders have really dug in, and they were fantastic in round 1, and they're looking really good here in round number 2 through the first 2 games. The defenses, both of these teams are notoriously known for kind of trying to shrink the ice a little bit, right? Like they're going to throw their bodies in front of pucks. They're going to try to limit as many, actual high danger shots that you can get. And both teams are doing that. You mentioned Tom Wilson. He's been a revelation this year because for a bit of his career, he was, a big dude that's going to hit you a little bit, get a little grimy, get a little, down into the greasy areas, get a little dirty with things. And now he's become a goal scorer too. He's a true leader for this Washington Capitals team. At 1-1, I think this series could go either way. And I think that depending on the prices, and I know we hit on it yesterday with the under 5.5 goals, I think that's the lean for the next couple of games. Is you look towards the under for these matchups. I don't think we're going to have any of those explosive offensive outputs from either of these teams in this series.
No doubt about it. And when you look at tomorrow, game 3 back in Raleigh, it will be the Hurricanes as a pretty substantial home favorite. Minus $1.92. Capitals plus $1.60 on the comeback. That puck or the total remains there at 5.5. Again, for the series price, it is still pretty heavily favored towards the Carolina Hurricanes. Minus 230. Capitals plus $1.90. But I think the Capitals have to feel very, very good about how they are playing and the opportunity to perhaps steal one there in Carolina the next couple of games to try and get home ice advantage back in their favor. We know who has home ice advantage now in the other Western Conference series. I got to tell you, Vegas has done everything possible to try and put themselves in a great spot to win these first 2 games. But you just cannot deny the talent of what the Edmonton Oilers have been able to put out there. They end up getting to overtime, and they win it 5-4. Leon Draisaitl, the game winner there with about 5 minutes into the NHL period, or the overtime period, I should say. Just again, Keith, if you're Vegas, you got to be incredibly frustrated because you've had great starts, and then all of a sudden, everything just evaporates, and Edmonton goes on this rush that hasn't been matched in those first 2 contests.
I just think Edmonton looks like the better team. And I know Vegas has done some good things. They have. Pickard has been dynamic in net for the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, his name is now on the list with like some all-time great goalies with this stretch that he's had. The Oilers are the cardiac kids, right? They've had to come back in almost every single game. It hasn't been an issue for them. And McDavid isn't even scoring goals, and they're winning. This might be the Oilers' year.
Yeah, it might be. They will be a short $1.25 home favorite tomorrow, game 3 with a 2-0 series lead. Vegas plus $1.05, and again, another high total, 6.5 goals. The night in the association tonight, a couple of teams, at least one that's going to need a big performance. That and much more when we come back on VSiN By The Books.
Tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
Underway on a Friday edition of VSiN By The Books. Jensen Lewis, Keith Irizarry with me. It's been a fun couple of days with my baldest beautiful brethren here. We had 3 of us yesterday. If you caught the segment with Cody Decker, I'm still laughing that he called it just 3 thumbs talking about sports, but I would have preferred the Cone headline from Miracle, and we'll just digress from there. Okay, so we talked a little NBA. One game yesterday, as we mentioned, Minnesota gets the series equalizer against Golden State, 117-93. But it is a team in the Cleveland Cavaliers here, Keith, that will begin game 3 tonight in Indianapolis. They down 2-0 in 2 just historic collapses, if you will, on how the Pacers were able to win these first 2 games at Rocket Arena in Cleveland. Mentioned it yesterday. The spread for this game opened at 1.5 in favor of the Cavaliers. It was up to 2 by the time you and I signed off yesterday. It is now at 2.5. Money line at minus $1.48. Pacers a slight home dog here at plus 124. Total of 227. You and I surmise, and we have yet to really see anything out of the Cavaliers camp about availabilities for Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and or DeAndre Hunter. But it would seem that some public money here piling in a little bit, as well as maybe that recency bias of, okay, we're going to get, as you mentioned yesterday and the day before, they got to get at least 1, if not 2 of these guys back. But still a Herculean task, even if that's the case going into enemy territory.
I'm not super worried, by the way. Donovan Mitchell does have a calf strain, so that is something to at least monitor as well. And, as we sit here at 7:16 in the morning on the East Coast, we still don't know about any of the injured players. But I actually want to deviate a little bit here because I think that we're sitting here. It's a very unique situation. So, Jensen, pull Jensen back up on camera with me, if you don't mind, please. So, Jensen, you played a sport at the highest level. You had highs and lows. I'm sure there were times that you walked off the mound and you thought you could have pitched better, and there were times that you were the best pitcher that lived in this world, right? So with all of that, if you are the Cavaliers, how are you bouncing back from that. And the reason I say this is unique is because you played the sport at a high level, right? Your sport, baseball, at a high level, and now you're a betting host and a betting analyst. So you're seeing it from so many different angles. So I feel like we'd be remiss if we don't dive into your brain for that. So how would you answer back?
All right, so if I take my heart out of it as a Cleveland fan, you eliminate the spread here altogether and just say, okay, boys, we just got to get a win. And that in and of itself, full disclosure, locked in Cavaliers money line minus 135 yesterday. It's now up to $1.48. I think part of that, key to answer your question first, is that there's a lot of pride in that locker room, and I think there's even more pride in the sense that they played throughout the regular season where Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell didn't play in games. They've done it where one of those superstars is not available. They've done it where they've had multiple guys not available. So this isn't something new for the Cavaliers. They've kind of gone through this exercise. It magnifies the pressure because you lost game 2, and it's the way that you lost game 2. So that's in the back of those players' heads headed into that locker room after the game, throughout practice yesterday, through morning shoot around today, is that first quarter, and we targeted it yesterday, right? Also with the Thunder, that sense of urgency, get out. You want to feel good about yourself. You want to have home court and the entire fan base behind you. Now, that's not going to be the case for Cleveland tonight, but more importantly, and you brought up Donovan Mitchell and the injury issues there, and I think that's something to keep in mind. Someone else outside of Donovan Mitchell has to help him tonight. And whether that is Jared Allen, whether that is Mobley coming back, hopefully DeAndre Hunter can get there. And for God's sake, Darius Garland, come on, man. I mean, shoot it up, do whatever you have to do. This is your season on the line, basically. You don't want to go down 0-3. So I think roundaboutly, Keith, from an athletic mindset, there's no doubt you've put the Cavs in a corner. They're going to come out swinging. That's just what their DNA is. And I would fully anticipate that we get the best iteration of this group early. Kenny Atkinson will have them coached up, and regardless of the starting lineup, Keith, that's out there, I think they put up a great showing, not only in the first quarter, but in the first half as well.
All right, I got a few things for you. So let's go Donovan Mitchell, first quarter points. So if we're going to go off the heels of kind of what we saw with Anthony Edwards for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and if we believe the Cavaliers are going to be, this is our season on the line. Where do we go? We go to our leader. So Donovan Mitchell, his first quarter point number is set at 7.5. You're getting plus money, plus 102. So basically even money there. I'm a little leery of the 7.5, but I think it is something you can look at. You mentioned, Jarrett Allen. I like Jarrett Allen to get a double-double today. I think that, you look at someone who's got 3 double-doubles in the last 4 games and 4 double-doubles in the 6 playoff games this year, minus 135. It's a little juiced, but it's fine. I think you can deal with it. And again, if, the other guys aren't back, you're going to need a little bit more from Jarrett Allen. And then I'll give you one more thing or one part thing to look forward to. You can look at which team to score the 10 points, the 15 points, which team is going to reach those points first. And I think that, again, if you believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers, even being in a hostile territory, being on the road, are going to come out like our season is on the line here, you would think they would get out to a good start, and they'd probably be, the first race to 10. They'd be the first one there. Those are a few of the things I'd be monitoring.
Yeah, it'd be great. And I appreciate you bringing up that, too, because that's also another great handicap, too, is if that sense of urgency is there, then you'd believe the Cavaliers out in force and absolutely executing, trying to get up and down if they have some of those reinforcements back as well. By the way, the series market there, Cavaliers plus $1.70 to come back and win this thing, being down 2-0. The Pacers minus 205 if you feel that they can win 2 of the next 4. Certainly the Cavs will need their horses to get back, to get healthy, and be able to run it big time. Speaking of, if you haven't, been able to do that just yet, First Bet lets you wager on hundreds of horse races every single day, top tracks across the United States and around the world. So just sign up at firstbet.com. That's the number 1, stbet.com. Use promo code VSiN200, and that allows you to claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days, up to $200. Head to firstbet.com today. Okay, so that is game 1 of the slate tonight. We also have another one out in the Mile High City, the Thunder and the Nuggets. We mentioned the Thunder look like gangbusters, a 149-106 win in game 2 to even that series up. They are currently a 5-point favorite here on the road, total of 232.5. Nuggets, though, plus $1.70 on that money line. And we bring that up because it feels like any team that's gotten out to these massive double-digit leads has seen it come back and ultimately bite them. That was not the case, though, Keith, for the Thunder as they won going away in game 2. Size it up for me how you see it tonight. Do we get that same sense of urgency from the Nuggets here on home court, knowing that they got embarrassed in game 2, and then they'll have their home fan base behind them tonight as well?
Mile High always gives you a little bit of a boost, right? Like, so the home team, the Denver Nuggets, knows how to play in that environment, knows how to play in elevation. The Thunder, I know they've played in Denver before, but it's not their home court. It's not their home state. It's not their home city. It's not where they normally reside, right? So there could be the boost there too. Again, I think in this one, you played Denver early on in this one, but ultimately, and I think we said this yesterday, I just think Oklahoma City is the better team. And you get that big win in game number 2. And I think that was like getting the proverbial, get the refrigerator off your back that you were carrying coming into this playoff series, because OKC fell short in the postseason last year. They're playing against a team in the Denver Nuggets who has Jokic and Murray and Gordon and Porter and all these guys that won a title 2 years ago. So they know how to win in the postseason. So that was we know how to win big in a postseason. Now can we win if it ends up getting close? And I think Oklahoma City can. So I would take Oklahoma City to win this. I would find a better way to bet this, though, because the odds there don't give you much bang for your buck. This might even be a live betting game. If Denver gets out to an early lead in this one and you still feel comfortable with OKC, that might be when you hop in on the Thunder.
I like that, and I'll throw another one at you, too. Just thinking, again, in our exercise with the Cavaliers and the Pacers, if you do feel the Cavs come back out and put up a hell of a fight to keep basically their season alive, even though a loss does not end their campaign. Moneyline parlay the favorites tonight here, Keith. The Thunder at minus 205. Cavaliers now up to minus $1.48. That gets you plus 149 at DraftKings. So if you think both favorites are able to get it done tonight, that's a great way to look at it as well. So again, Cavaliers 2.5-point favorite on the road against the Pacers. Thunder also 5-point favorite in the Mile High City against the Nuggets. A total of 232.5 in that Thunder and Nugget game, and then 227 in the Cavaliers and the Pacers game. Much more to break down with Thomas Gable when we talk to him here before the top of the hour. He will have a great look at not only where the book needs are from what has been just a ridiculous reset, we feel, of the futures market, but I'm sure he will have some takes for tonight's game on the hardwood. How about the night on ice? Yesterday was yet another dandy in the NHL. We got 2 big ones coming up. We'll preview that when we come back on VSiN by the Books.
You're tuned in to VSiN by the Books right here on VSiN.
We'll head down to Atlantic City coming up around 7:45 Eastern time to catch up with our great friend Thomas Gable, race and sports director there at the Borgata, get his thoughts on where the NBA postseason, Keith, is at the moment. I am very intrigued to see where their futures liability is, as well as how they've kind of changed the market on some of these prices with where these series are at, particularly in the Eastern Conference. So it'll be great to catch up with him in about 15 minutes. Let's catch people up on the night on ice last night. Capitals even the series against Carolina. They win 3-1. That series now headed back to Raleigh tomorrow night. Edmonton in overtime. Yet another comeback victory. Keith, it feels like this is where they want to be. They want to be behind early, and then they have just this blitz through VGK at least the last couple of days. So they win it 5-4 in overtime. They now lead the series 2-0, headed back to Canada. Tonight, we are in Sunrise, Florida, as the Panthers will look to try and get on the board in their series. They host the Maple Leafs down 2-0 themselves. And then Dallas is in Winnipeg for Game 2 after Mikko Rantanen, another hat trick in a single period, single-handedly beating Connor Hellebuck and the Jets. Dallas leading that series 1-0. Let's first dive into Maple Leafs and Panthers. Again, it has been that scenario in which Florida has had plenty of opportunities. They just have not gotten enough pucks on net yet to really be able to force the issue. And Toronto's offense, Keith, in my opinion, has been as good, if not better, than advertised. We are so used to seeing them play very tight in these scenarios in playoffs past. That has not been the case here, at least in this series, to get going.
So the surface numbers would agree with you. The deeper dive numbers would disagree on Toronto. So first and foremost, Florida, Bob hasn't been great, but Sergei Bobrovsky, I just call him Bob, giving up 4 goals, 16 shots in Wednesday's game. Like, he has not been signature him, right? So we'll see if he can kind of figure it out. The second part is some of those expected numbers, some of those, generating high danger shot numbers, all that kind of stuff for Toronto and their 5-on-5 looks. Last in the playoffs in those. That's per natural stat trick. So what does that mean? What that means is that Toronto is scoring more on just like their regular shots. The assumption would be that Bobrovsky would start seeing the puck a little bit better and get some stops there. My gut tells me Florida wins tonight going away. I feel like this is a 3-1, 4-1 type of game in which the Panthers will get their business done. Also, don't forget the Panthers love playing at home, 6-2 on home ice during the postseason. I think, the difference from losing the first 2 games the way they did and maybe getting dominated is the fact that the Panthers have a pedigree of winning a cup. They did it already, right? And they can look and say, all right, so a puck bounce here, a puck bounce there, you're going to little puck luck here, puck luck there, and we could easily be up 2-0 instead of down 0-2. We're not worried. The series hasn't really fully began yet because we're going to win these games on home ice, and then we're going to go back to Toronto, and we're going to take a game there. We're going to scare them. Joseph Woll is playing great the last game and a half. That's not going to stay. Like, those are the things that I'd be saying in my locker room, in my dressing room if I'm the Panthers.
And right now, the market is just flooded with Panther money. Minus 230 on the money line. The Panthers are even a short plus 120 underdog price, if you will, on the puck line. Total still 5.5. And again, the totals have gone over in both those games. So interested to see if the offensive onslaught from Toronto continues tonight. But again, we are going to have that sense of urgency narrative in many of these postseason series tonight and into tomorrow. But Florida will need an opportunity to be able to get out and get that home crowd into it and staying into it. Again, you see the series price if you're watching on VSiN.com, VSiN Watch app. For those of you tuning in on Sirius Channel 158, Carolina minus 230, still on the series price. With this, the Panthers plus $1.90, I should say, on the series price. The Maple Leafs minus 230 as they lead that series 2-0. The other one we have tonight,
Jensen, before you move on to the next game, just wanted to jump in with one more stat that I forgot to give out, something at least to pay attention to. Sorry about that, but the Maple Leafs are 2 for their last 16 on the power play, so I think that is something to take note of. They were really good on special teams all season long. They haven't been great, so for all you Maple Leafs fans, like, that might be something that you could turn around and actually put your hat on, right? You could actually say, like, hey, we're up 2-0 and we've stunk on the power play, and it's something that we are typically really good at. So that could be something to pay attention to. Again, maybe you take a look. If you're looking at your prop market, your player prop market, you can look at your Toronto Maple Leafs, the first line of your power play. If you think that they're going to break through today, maybe you take a look at some of the guys that are on the first line of the power play and you add them into some sort of parlay for getting points.
I do like that. And remember, Jonathan Davis on with us yesterday, kind of giving the other angle to the team losing the previous game, betting them to score the first goal. It did get home last night in both the Capitals game and VGK. And so just remember that as you're handicapping both this Maple Leafs Panthers game as well as this Dallas Stars and Winnipeg Jets game. Winnipeg down 1-0 after a 3-2 defeat by basically Mikko Rantanen. Mikko Rantanen defeating the Winnipeg Jets just by himself. This game, again, Winnipeg a short home favorite, minus $1.22. The Stars almost even money, plus $1.02 on the comeback, 5.5 the total. But here again, an opportunity now for Jake Ottinger to continue his dominant play, and that in and of itself is going to be a storyline moving forward. If you're looking at Conn Smythe odds, we would feel that Mikko Rantanen with these last couple performances, Keith, is going to be your odds-on favorite, if not a heavy favorite, if he continues the way that he's been scoring goals. You talked about it yesterday. If you wanted to ladder those goal-scoring props, that's a way to attack this. But let's take a 30,000-foot view. Stars up 1-0. They'd love nothing more than to go back to home ice up 2-0 as well.
And I think they will. I think Dallas just looks like the better team in this one. They're limiting all the high-danger opportunities, scoring chances for the Jets. The Jets have had just 9 high-danger scoring chances at 5-on-5 on the ice in the series opener. Not very good. Dallas is a deep team, and if you're going to have a guy like Mikko Rantanen right now, just like he's on a heater. It's as simple as that. So he has recorded 3 or more shots in 6 of the 8 postseason games. That ranks him 99th percentile for forwards in shots on goal. So there are other ways to play this one as well. So yesterday we talked about, an anytime goal for Mikko Rantanen was basically 2-1 odds. Then 2 or more goals was, I think it was like plus 450. And then you keep going on and on and on. So you can ladder the goals. It's probably pie in the sky. It'd be crazy to have him have 3 games in a row with hat tricks. But if you want to be on the side of history, go ahead. Don't bet too much that you wouldn't be willing to lose. But another avenue would be to look at his shots on goal. You could do a ladder with that too. You can do 3 shots on goal, 4 shots on goal, 5 shots on goal. Again, do the percentages and make sure that, as long as the first one hits, you at least break even or make a little bit of money.
Series price right now, Stars a pretty sizable favorite, minus 360. The Jets almost a 3-1 dog to come back, even though they are only down 1 game to none. Some of the splits to take a look at for you here, and you mentioned Dallas. A lot of people piling in on that short money line favorite there for Winnipeg at minus $1.22. 56% of the bets, 80% of the handle. So anxious to see how that money kind of moves as we get moving throughout the day. By the way, if you want to check out these splits and everything, VSiN.com is the way to go. Also, some great content. We're going to visit with Zach Cohen coming up at the final hour of the show. You can get his NBA best bets. He will dive a bit more into what he likes. But again, not only that, Greg Peterson's MLB picks. Nigel Seeley has the Premier League best bets too. JD Jonathan Davis, we had him on yesterday. A fabulous job handicapping the entirety of the NHL postseason. He had a lot of winners for us. Steve Makinen, his NBA and MLB analytics reports. Again, we're going to give you 14 months, so 2 months free when you sign up with promo code PRO at VSiN.com/subscribe. $199. Absolute steal of a deal. It's usually $240, but that plus the 2 months free at $199. Remember, use the promo code PRO when you sign up today. All right, if we want to kind of go where we've thought thus far here, Keith, you believe that Florida equalizes, or at least, gets on the board tonight. You think that Dallas ends up winning it. That's a nice little plus 189 money line parlay if you want to jump on that and have those games go the way you thought. I do still like the idea of having a little flutter on the Mikko Rantanen goal ladder, buddy.
Well, add a Mikko goal into that parlay, maybe.
There you go.
One Mikko goal with those 2 games, huh?
Great idea. Great idea indeed. What we like to ladder is our opportunities with Thomas Gable, race and sports director at the Borgata down in Atlantic City. He will join us to talk all things NBA and much more. Where's the futures market now with some of these series where they are? He joins us next on VSiN By The Books.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books right here on VSiN.
Friday edition of VSiN By The Books rolls on. Jensen Lewis alongside Keith Irizarry in for Captain America. Super Dave Ross on his way back to Vegas yesterday. He'll be back with myself in his customary posts on Monday morning. We think, Keith, because he did connect in Dallas-Fort Worth yesterday. As you know, he feels that is God's country, knowing that's where Jerry World is. So we will
What
We'll find out.
what you're saying is there's a possibility, Jensen, at 6:45 in the morning Eastern time on Monday, you're like, yo, Keith, we need you to hop on the mic, please. Yeah, Dave's not back. He's just chilling in Dallas. Yeah.
As we say in Top Gun, you're be up on Ready 5, my friend. A man who is always ready to talk all things sports. Our great friend of the program, Thomas Gable, race and sports director at the Borgata there in Atlantic City. He joins us on the Progressive Guest Line. Follow him as we do at T Gable Sports. TG, great to catch up with you. I know we say it in jest of our man Dave Ross about connecting there in Dallas, but let me connect with you on where the futures market is now for this NBA postseason. I mean, this has been wild to see some of the historic comebacks. First 6 games of this round 2, all won by the underdog. Assess it for us. Where do you guys sit from a liability standpoint, and kind of where the overall landscape is at this point?
Yeah, we can get into NBA. I was actually working on college basketball this morning. I think with the news from yesterday, Villanova is going to have quite the NIL collective next year, now counting the Pope as an alumni. So I've already raised their power rating 2.5 points for next season, just waiting to see how they hit the transfer portal. But yeah, let's get into NBA here. Obviously, the way that these series have gone, a little different than what we have come to expect from the NBA playoffs, especially in years past. NBA playoffs typically kind of go on script with the favorites winning pretty easily, but especially in the East, that has not been the case here. But before these 2 series started in the East, Boston, you had to lay $8 on the series price against the Knicks. Now that series is a pick'em on the series price, and we can get to that game in a minute for tomorrow. But the game tonight, obviously Cleveland and at Indiana, and again Cleveland -$5 before the series started. Pacers were plus 375 on the take back, and then you could even get the Pacers at plus 180 on the series price before game 2. So 2 huge victories there for the Pacers in Cleveland, and now kind of obviously the back is against the wall here for the Cavs, and that's the way that people are betting this game in particular tonight. A lot of recreational money, of course, coming in on Cleveland, especially on the money line, which we now have the Cleveland money line up to $1.60 for tonight, which has gotten a little bit more pricey from the opener. But this is just a spot where, again, the public is thinking Cavs cannot go down 3-0. So it's a must-win situation for them tonight. And even though they're on the road, they have been taking the money. And, we still are – obviously the big piece here is who's going to be available for Cleveland tonight. They've been playing shorthanded, but we'll see if anybody can come back tonight. I would expect at least 1 or 2 guys to be available. Mobley obviously is big piece there, and if Garland can give it a go. But, you got to give the Pacers credit. This is a team that looked great against Milwaukee in their first series. And overall, in terms of the futures for the Eastern Conference, of the 4 remaining teams, this was the team that was essentially ignored in the futures market, at least here amongst bettors. When you look at our futures board, it's Boston has been bet pretty heavily all year. They've been the favorite to win the East all season. Pretty much again the highest power rated team in the conference. So there's liability that we have on Boston. The Cavs also were taking some money throughout the year. Great regular season team, had a tremendous season. We were kind of a break-even result on Cleveland to win the East. And then the Knicks, which of course is sort of a hometown team for us. We take so much New York money here. So the New York teams are always popular in the future book. So we definitely have liability on the Knicks. So our 2 biggest liabilities in the East are the Celtics and the Knicks. Obviously, one will be eliminated here, but we're big winners to Indiana in the East. So we'll see how this all plays out. But definitely we'll get one of our 2 big liabilities eliminated here in this series between the Knicks and the Celtics.
TG, we were talking about it yesterday, especially with a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves when they had lost game one. You figured they'd come out strong in the first quarter, so you could play certain players to score a certain amount of points in the first quarter. You could play them to win first quarters. Are you seeing that throughout this postseason where a team that's expected to win loses a game and then maybe a lot of money comes in on them to play well early on in the next game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a zigzag theory, right? It's, we saw the zigzag theory was very popular in the last round of the playoffs. And then certainly what you're saying as well, where even if you're betting them first half after coming off a loss, cover the first half number or even first quarter number, always a popular strategy, popular play there amongst bettors. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not uncommon. And, again, it was just this bounce back spot. If you look at the two games where the very heavy favorites have lost now, the first two with Boston and Cleveland, it's been almost all Cleveland money for tonight's game three. And the same thing for on Saturday's game with Boston and New York. It's been almost all Celtics money. Now, I'm sure that's going to even out for us because that is one series that typically, I mean, sports books are going to enjoy having the results that you have seen so far in this round of the playoffs, where a lot of big dogs are winning games outright. You're collecting a lot of parlays that run through these big favorites. So this has been good results, certainly for books. The one series I would say is a little against type for us is this New York-Boston series because we take so much Knicks money, even as big underdogs. People are betting the Knicks here. And so it hasn't been great results for those first two games for us. But at least for tomorrow's game, it's been all early Celtics money. But again, there's going to be plenty of New York money here.
Celtics and Knicks tomorrow, 3:35 Eastern tip time. Celtics 5-point favorite on the road, total of 204. You mentioned off the top here, and we're joined by Thomas Gable, Race and Sports Director there at the Borgata in Atlantic City, joining us on the Progressive Guest Line. So I know Brandon and Keith and Danny Higgins, all of us texting yesterday in a group chat. Once we saw the white smoke, and we got the backstory that Pope Leo the 14th is originally a Southside Chicago native, but as you said, also a Villanova graduate. We're starting to see some of these ridiculous future parlays pop up here. TG of, the Knicks. Okay, finally, they're going to win the NBA title. Villanova at 100-1 in some places going to win the men's national championship in college basketball. Have you guys taken any of those ridiculous future parlays with the news that we got out of the Vatican yesterday?
No, but I'll be more than happy to. Because I mean, listen, you want to do the all Chicago, parlay, do the Cubs and Bears futures. That's fine. Well, I guess he's actually a White Sox fan, right? So I don't know anybody who's actually betting the White Sox at this point. It's exactly the opposite. So we'll see. Maybe the White Sox will get a little pick-me-up here now that the big man is in office. So over there in Rome, maybe the White Sox season will turn around.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Listen, I think there's something there, right? I mean, he went to Nova Knicks. I'm just saying.
Fantastic.
Yeah, right.
TG,
you absolutely have the Nova angle there with the Knicks for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. TG, always appreciate your time, my man. All the best to you, and we look forward to catching up with you. And I know that if we do get Captain America, Super Dave Ross back, you will have to ask him about his escapades through Dallas-Fort Worth and all the videos he posted next to the Cowboys team shops in there.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I'm sure he's helping Jerry right now as we speak if he decide to take a few more days there in the Big G.
Yep, certainly does. All right, TG, thanks. Have a great weekend. We'll talk again. Again, Thomas Gable, Race and Sports Director there at the Borgata in Atlantic City, joining us on the Progressive Guest Line. Joining us, and again, we had a 2-for-1 already, Keith, this week, where we had Cody Decker yesterday. We always have him on Mondays. You get the life experience we all love to have, and anytime we get to have Billy Body on twice in a week, life is so much better. He joins us next to talk all things boxing, Premier League, Champions League, everything you want, and then some. Billy Body next here on VSiN By The Books.